Hi, I'm Anthony.
I'm Annie.
I'm Austin. I'm Michael.
I'm Caroline.
I'm Steven.
Hi, my name is Anthony Palmisano, and this is S.J.YOU. Fast forward back to my senior year, I had a really good track season, committed to S.J.YOU's, and that's what led me to where I am today. I no longer run track here, but I've met friends in college that will also last me a lifetime. I've enjoyed being in the city of Philadelphia. I would never have attended this school if it weren't for track, and I would never have met the friends I wouldn't have if it weren't for track. My path to St. Joe's was relatively unique. I went to 3 high schools prior to attending college. My long-term goal was to play college football. I was a slot receiver and defensive back. I returned kicks and punts, and that was always my dream as a kid. I started playing football when I was in 7th grade. I wanted to play Division I football. So that summer I was invited to a football camp at Georgetown. I was bullied, hazed, and intimidated by 5 of my football coaches, and that started to begin once I got back from this camp. I ran a 40-yard dash time that I was pretty impressed with, and I was telling my friends, and my coach said, "Palmisano, no way you ran that." Even prior to this, my sophomore year, there were always little comments made. When I had a concussion my sophomore year, they were saying, "Oh, how's the boo-boo on your head? You think you've been out long enough?" And really just not having empathy or sympathy for the fact that I had a brain injury. It was my second at the time. I've had 4 in my life. This is where I noticed things were starting to get very odd. So practice would end and they would say, "Palmisano, you're staying after practice today because you made a mistake, and we want to, you have physical punishment today. Because you made a mistake, we're going to give you extra conditioning on top of the conditioning we had at the end of practice in hopes of you learning from that mistake." So after about 2 or 3 practices, I was the only kid on a team of 50, 60 players that was staying after and doing this physical punishment. The main event that occurred was on a Friday. So we had our morning practice, we came in, ate lunch, watched film. I come back from film, and my jersey, we would all keep our pads with our jerseys over it on top of the lockers. My helmet would be up there, was covered in green question marks. As I'm standing there puzzled for about a minute, 2 assistant coaches who were in their early 30s come over and they say, "Palmisano, do you like your new jersey?" And I said, "No, I don't, quite frankly. Who did this?" And they said, "Oh, we did, the coaches." And I'm like, what does this mean? Why is my jersey the only one covered in green question marks taped on my jersey? And they said, "Well, we were talking about the new Batman movie that's coming out starring Ben Affleck, and we thought you'd be the Riddler." And I'm like, "The Riddler?" I'm like, why am I the Riddler? And they're like, "I don't know, you tell us." When I replied with, "Is it because I ask a lot of questions?" They said, "I don't know, you tell us," again. So they repeated that, and I'm like, "Well, I'm not wearing this during practice." And they're like, "Yes, you are. You're the Riddler from now on. That's your new name." And I said, unless every kid in here has that on their jersey as well, there's no chance I'm wearing that the rest of practice. So I ripped it off right in front of their faces, took my pads. I had all these negative emotions bound up, and I didn't know really what to do, so I just kind of stormed out, went onto the field to stretch, and I was about the first or second one out there. And then this other coach comes out and screams across the practice field, "Palmisano, you're dead." Like, "Palmisano, you're dead," in a demeaning way, and honestly in a way where I didn't know if he was going to come over and hit me. It was a very aggressive yell, and he was clearly upset at the fact that I took the question marks off. So he comes up to me, gets right in my face, and says, why'd you take the question marks off? And I replied with the same answer: unless everyone here has it on their jersey, I'm not doing that. So that whole entire practice, which was about an hour and a half, 2 hours, I was the Riddler.
There is trouble on the football field at a New Jersey high school. After reports of bad behavior, several coaches have been suspended. CBS 2 investigative reporter Tamara Leitner spoke with parents and students.
The Cedar Grove High School Panthers are still hitting the field, even though 5 of their football coaches have been suspended for allegedly bullying.
The guys that got suspended, I know a few of them. They're great guys.
Margaret Pantusa's son Marco plays on the team.
It sounds very ridiculous, just because I think it wasn't handled correctly. If you have a problem with a coach, I feel like you go directly to the coach.
School and district officials refuse to release any details about what led to the suspensions. The 5 coaches are a mix of volunteers and paid employees, and the suspensions range from 1 game to an entire season.
One of the utmost devastations through the whole process of us filing a bullying incident was losing the loyalty and friendships of adults in our town because of their devotion to the football program and the coaches. Never in a million years did I expect friends that I had known for a very long time to not be there for us or for Anthony. My heart was broken into 1,000 pieces. What happened to Anthony was deplorable, not just the actions of the coaches, but the manner in which he was regarded as the villain in our town and by his friends. It was heartbreaking that our friends traded years of friendship for a superficial relationship with a football program.
The second I transferred to DePaul, everyone stopped answering me. All of my quote-unquote friends just completely blew me off, and that was it, because the popular opinion was to not be friends with me, so they essentially ostracized me. When I transferred to DePaul, not only did I not know anybody there, but I also lost all of my friends from Cedar Grove. So I really was a lone wolf, and it took time to develop, long-term friendships. It didn't just come overnight. I've met a lot of great people in football, and I know that this isn't a total sum of the sport. It just happened to be, a bad situation that occurred. This past summer in regular season, I was a training camp intern and game day intern with the New York Football Giants. There's still a lot of unknowns, of course, but my intended path is to work in their public relations department post-graduation. I have a strong passion for wanting to help others because, I had this great support system at home. I had a family that without them, I don't know how I would have reacted in this situation. I could have fallen in a really dark, slippery place if it weren't for them having my back, always ensuring that I was okay mentally. And I know not everyone's fortunate enough to have that support system. So if I do land a job with an NFL team, hopefully the Giants, I would love to orchestrate something along the lines of getting players who are also passionate about the topic of anti-bullying and speaking to elementary schools, middle schools, high schools, and basically condoning it, making it not cool for the students so they hear that, and it hopefully deters potential bullies from carrying out those acts. I would never have attended St. Joe's if it weren't for being bullied 5.5 years ago. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'm Anthony Palmisano, and this is S.J.YOU.